What's up everyone and welcome back to Nexus. If you're a cop, then you're pretty much sworn in and duty bound to always follow the law and do whatever you can to help. Unfortunately, it's one of those professions that often attracts people who really want to break the law and think they're untouchable because of the fact they are cops. And they think they can do whatever they want and get away with it, caring more about power than doing good and helping people. Watch this video to find out the top 5 cops caught breaking the law. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get new content similar to this every day. Also, make sure to comment down below letting us know which was your favorite. And for this video, let's see if we can hit the golden like button, which is 1,000 likes, so make sure to drop a like down below. Number 5. You've got to feel bad for repo guys because they're everybody's least favorite person when they're really just doing their jobs, unlike the state cop in this first clip. This is an incident in spring of 2014 where a cop named Charles Vernier was arrested outside his home for assaulting a repo man there to repossess his Nissan Xterra, presumably because he was behind on payments for it. So the guy pulled up just trying to do his job when Vernier came out to argue with him, getting him in a powerful chokehold and keeping him there on the back of his own tow truck, claiming that the repo guy pushed him first. Unfortunately for Charles Vernier, his wife cares more about the law than he does, and managed to capture the whole incident on video. This video proves outright that the repo driver did not do what he was accused of, and even shows her frequently begging him to put an end to his 8-minute long chokehold. And it's even her who calls the local Los Lunas police to come out and deal with it. While Vernier may think that the cops will take his side, and he even tries to pull rank over them, he ends up getting stared down by a loaded taser, with one of the officers demanding that he let go of him and put his hands on his head to be arrested. But it seems that he'd rather be on the run than in jail, so he tries to make a break for it, which ends in him pitifully tripping over his own feet and landing in the dirt. The story doesn't end there, because it turns out that Vernier was already on paid suspension from the New Mexico police force and was under investigation to find out if he was mentally stable enough to be a police officer. Going by the things seen in this clip, I'd say he's almost certainly not, and I hope they did the right thing and fired him.
But when Los Lunas police show up, it's Vernier who's in trouble.
Step around the vehicle now.
Handcuff him.
Step around the
Handcuff
vehicle
him
now. Turn around. Turn around. Turn around. Turn around.
The state cop finally starts to listen, and then
Put your hands on your head.
No, I'm not being handcuffed today.
Yes, you are. Turn around.
he bolts before tripping over his own feet. How does Officer Vernier describe it?
I was walking away from you and you used an excessive amount of force.
You were walking away. I was walking.
Number 4. Moving on to Utah next for a pretty stomach-churning example of what can happen if you're a woman and a police officer decides he just doesn't like the look of you, or that he really likes the look of you, as the creepy case may be. Last year in Layton City, a woman named Amanda Houghton took her story to the press after she was involved in a bad car accident and called the police to come and help her. A driver rear-ended her at 30 miles per hour in a crash which resulted in her car being completely totaled. And the behavior of the arresting officer, one G. Schatzman, just added insult to injury on what was already a traumatic day. When he showed up, he ordered Amanda out of her car and claims that she was making jerky movements and speaking rapidly, which to be honest seems understandable given she just barely survived a traffic collision. The cop decided to initiate a field sobriety test, which she failed because she was probably in shock after the events of the morning, and then proceeded to search her, claiming that he had reasonable suspicion she was driving under the influence. However, this search turned out to be very invasive, and if a guy on the street had done it, it would certainly be classified as a sexual assault or some degree. When taken to the police station and then to the hospital afterwards, she was subjected to 2 blood tests, both of which came back completely clean and proved she had no drugs or alcohol in her system. Scarily enough, Schatzman's superior officer defends his actions, saying he had probable cause to search, though Amanda's lawyer in her case against Layton City Police says this was an unconstitutional search and it violated her rights.
Amanda Houghton is in a traffic accident, one she didn't even cause. She had nothing to drink that day and had no medication, 0, 0, 0, 0 all the way across for everything.
Not only left in disbelief, but Houghton says now left in doubt of the officers in the city she calls home.
The police department, I can't trust them.
Number 3. This video was filmed and uploaded by one honorable citizen in San Antonio, Texas, who believes wholly that everybody should obey street parking laws, including cops, and films this clip to prove that a police car is violating Texas laws by parking in a no parking zone. He's braver than me because he follows it up and goes into a nearby coffee shop to question 2 cops he saw in there, asking them their names and badge numbers and informing them that the car outside on the street is parked illegally. It's not either of these cops who have parked it, but eventually one of them radios his colleague to come down and answer about what's going on, which he does, And the self-described good citizen recites to him the specific public safety law the officer is violating by parking there. Part of me thinks he has way too much time on his hands if he can learn specific laws like that and if he can hang around town waiting for the cops to move their car, even checking up a few hours later to see that they did actually move it. Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't start arguing with him and say that they were cops and they could park wherever they want. And it seems kind of likely that they maybe just didn't realize it was a no parking zone, considering they moved as soon as he asked them. He even refuses to give them his name or ID and says he's going to be checking up with their superiors at the police station if he finds out the car didn't get moved. In a way, he's sort of like the world's most boring vigilante, and you definitely won't be seeing Parking Zone Man making a cameo appearance in the new Justice League movie.
What's your name and badge number?
Officer Isabel, 9536.
Did you say Officer Isabel?
Yes, sir.
And what's your badge number?
9536.
And your name and badge number? You want me to come closer and look at it?
Sure.
You can't tell me?
We're filming it. It's right
Okay.
here.
Good citizen. What's your badge number?
9572.
All right. Sergeant Bredentes.
Yes, sir.
So I went and asked the officers up there who was driving that patrol car over there. I didn't know if you're aware, and I'd like to inform you.
Number 2. More traffic violations now, but this time something way more dangerous than parking a few meters out of the actual parking zone. Because this is a video of a cop speeding down a busy highway. And considering he doesn't have his lights flashing or sirens blaring, I'm assuming he's not on his way to stopping a crime, meaning the speeding is illegal. It's scary to watch how fast this police cruiser is going in the video and overtaking all the vehicles in the lanes on the right. The guy filming is a little bit of an anti-hero, because to keep up with the speeding vehicle, he has to speed himself, yelling road rage fueled abuse at the cop when they start flashing their lights at him to tell him to slow down. Watching this, I'd say it's safe to say that the driver isn't a big fan of police, even calling them pigs at one point. Finally, the cop car slows down and stops and begins pursuing him instead, and he immediately pulls over in response. The officer comes over with a flashlight and asks to see the guy's license. When he asks why he's been pulled over, the cop says because he was going 79 miles per hour in a 60 zone. To which the video author argues that the cop was going 85 in a 60 zone. He starts shouting at the cop that he's putting lives in danger and that the cop works for the public. The public doesn't work for the cops, so he shouldn't be doing anything that might endanger US citizens. To be honest, even though he knows his rights, they are both in the wrong for speeding. And maybe a better way to deal with it would have been taking down the car's license and showing the local police station the video to get the officers punished that way. Props to the guy for standing up for himself though.
And apparently that's against the law too. So where do you get off pulling me over for speeding when you flew past a bunch of traffic in 60 miles an hour, no lights, no siren. Listen, that's bullshit. No, listen. What's your name and badge number? What's your name and badge number?
My name is Trooper Borland, WSP 370. Let's see your
and let me see your ID.
I will get it.
No, let me see your ID now and a business card.
Number 1. If someone told you they thought the cops had planted evidence to frame them of a crime, you'd probably dismiss them as being crazy and paranoid. Maybe this is what happened to Donald Andrews Jr. when he was arrested on drug charges in New York 4 years ago. But soon afterwards, evidence emerged that the police had used an undercover informant to plant evidence in his shop so that they could arrest him. Police were suspicious of Andrews because the shop sells smoking paraphernalia, though that isn't actually illegal on its own. The CCTV in the store proves outright that the informant who was sent and planted crack cocaine on the counter, and then took a photograph of it to frame him for a crime he didn't commit. To make this more outrageous, the informant should get 4 years in federal prison for possession for having those drugs to plant. People who knew Andrews and his lawyer argued that Andrews was racially profiled and was arrested by the police who didn't like or understand that a black person could have a successful business without doing something illegal, presuming that just because he was black, he must be selling drugs on the side. It's appalling behavior from the police who were hell-bent on having this man arrested for literally no reason. And luckily that David Andrews had so many cameras in his shop to prove that he had done nothing wrong.
Sending an undercover informant in twice in March. The second time, Andrews' attorney, Kevin Lebrand, does play-by-play that appears to show the informant planting, then photographing crack cocaine that led to Andrews' arrest.
Donald turns, he comes in, places the crack on the counter, crack which under federal sentencing guidelines would get him 4 years in jail. Under New York state law would get him 2 to 7 years in jail.
That was our list of the top 5 cops caught breaking the law. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss a video in the future, and hit the like button too so we hit the golden like of 1,000. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace!